Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's been a fat minute since I've been on here. Uh, but in my absence, I've been able to play through quite a few games. And most recently, I've beaten both Star Wars The Force Unleashed 1 and The Force Unleashed 2. So that's what we're going to review today because back in my childhood, these games were gold. Like, just imagine it's mid 2008, your mom's grocery shopping and shit, and you're over there wandering in the games aisle, and then boom, you see the TV, the controller sitting there, and this demo for this game. And the demo just allowed you to be this overpowered character, and you play through pretty much the first actual mission in the game. And that's what I remembered, you know. I played through this game a few times. I've beaten it probably, I want to say 5 times. And I love the game, both the games. So today I want to start out with The Force Unleashed 1 because that's how games go. I mean, there's an order for a reason. Let's get talking about one of the best Star Wars games that, came out before modern generation consoles were a thing. So you start the game off where you're kind of overpowered. You're playing as Darth Vader, one of the most badass Sith lords out there. And as you're fighting through Kashyyyk, you're just killing Wookiees, you're killing stormtroopers. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, honestly, Darth Vader could care less of what dies as long as he gets to where he's going. So that first mission, it kind of gives you an idea of what type of things you're going to experience playing later on in the game. And so as you're playing along, you're killing these Wookiees, you're blowing up shit with rocks, and you're using your force pulse, I guess you could call it, because it's like this big ball of energy. Anyways, you meet a Jedi, and he's just like, "Oh, dude, you won't recognize me. I'm wearing my hood." Nah, Darth Vader doesn't care. He recognizes everybody. So anyways, you fight this Jedi, and right before you kill him and everything, his son comes out of nowhere, and he's just all like, "Yo, Darth Vader, I'm gonna steal your fucking sword here, bitch." So Darth Vader, of course, kills the Jedi easily, without even hesitation. And you got this little kid holding his lightsaber, and a bunch of stormtroopers come in. They're getting ready to kill him. Darth Vader ain't having that shit. He's like, "Fuck you, bitch. I'm gonna kill all of you fools." So he takes the lightsaber back, kills all these stormtroopers, and then it flashes. I'd probably say it's about 16, 15 years ahead. Because when you're playing Starkiller, also known as Galen Merrick, you're probably in your mid-20s, maybe early 20s. And whenever you're found, you're just a kid. You're probably like 6, 7. You're just a little kid. So anyways, your first mission, you have to literally hunt down a Jedi. Like, you don't get any training montages or anything of whenever he was being raised by Darth Vader, but you get the sense that Darth Vader wasn't easy on this kid. So you fight through this entire ship. You're trying to fight Imperials. You're fighting rebels, and it takes you back to that first area that you play as Starkiller in the demo. And as a kid playing through this, man, it just, every time it felt awesome, from the point that you could just like bend random stuff. Like, there was these like pillars that you could bend because they're metal, and they could hit TIE fighters. As a kid, I thought that was the coolest thing ever because it gave you a different feeling of exploration. It allowed you to do more than really any games had offered at the time that were Star Wars titles. So as you're going on through your mission and everything, you go and find this Jedi, and his name is General Coda, and he's one of the more prominent figures in the game because he's definitely he's a father figure towards Galen. So he doesn't know it yet, but his journey is going to get pretty wild. So basically, the first half of the game, so the first half of the game you're going through, and you're basically just hunting down Jedi from Shaak Ti to this little junkyard guy. I honestly can't remember his name. I'll probably just post it like right here. Anyways, so you're hunting down these Jedi, and you're doing, you know, kind of. Darth Vader hides it. It says it's training, but in reality, you know, you the player, you know, he's just using you to get rid of his enemies, so that way he can, you know, proceed with ruling the galaxy. You know, normal stuff like that comes in the Star Wars universe. So it's a pretty old game, so I'm not gonna avoid spoilers, because like, if you haven't played the game, I highly recommend you play it, but I'll leave a little note. Okay, this time I'll try to remember to leave a note to where to skip to, so that way you can avoid the spoilery stuff. So anyways, you know, you kill all these guys, and you know, you're doing your job, because your main goal is to overthrow the Empire with Darth Vader, because that's what he's been telling you his whole life. And the time comes, and Darth Vader just straight up stabs him in the back, throws him around, and yeets him through a window. But you know what? You kind of saw it coming, because it is the Sith. You know, they're kind of like little mangy people. They lie. They just use you and try to take advantage of your hope that things will be different. So anyways, Darth Vader, he reconstructs you. He says, oh, I just needed the Empire to think that you were dead. Well, Galen believes that for some reason. I don't understand why. Anyways, so you have to go around and you have to find people to start a rebellion. And Darth Vader uses that and says it'll be a distraction, so then they can strike down the Empire. When honestly, when he heard that shit, he should have been like, nah, this fool's still using me. Anyways, so you go around and you actually find General Kota again. And he's still alive. He doesn't have eyeballs anymore, because you burned him out. And so you basically have to bring all these people together. Leia and her adopted father, Bail Organa. And you get these people to have faith that you're a Jedi, that you're trying so hard to defeat the Empire. And, you know, once you finally get everybody together, everybody's like, oh yeah, we're going to make a plan. Well, Darth Vader comes back in and beats the fuck out of Starkiller and is like, yo, I lied. I'm just kidding. I just wanted you to get my enemies together so I could basically slaughter them. And that's when Starkiller realizes that there is no alliance in the Empire, that it's a dog-eat-dog world. Starkiller's pilot's name is Juno. And basically she just was like, you know what, I'm going to trust you, because she's got the hots for him. And anyways, so they go to the Death Star. You fight through the Death Star. You kill a lot of stormtroopers, a lot of like shadow troopers. I want to say that's what they were. Anyways, and you finally meet up with Darth Vader again. You kick his ass, like straight up. You kick his ass, and you're led to this point where you get to make a decision. Am I gonna kill Darth Vader and let out all my rage and hate, or am I gonna go over here and save the rebellion? Because at this time, you have the Emperor, like straight up trying to kill everybody. And basically he was going to use Darth Vader as a distraction so then he could kill him. And you have the option to do either one. Now, the canon option being going and stopping Palpatine. That one basically just leads into a fight where you dodge some like projectiles that he throws and shit, and then you fight some Shadow Guard, and then you fight him some more. And it's on and off thing. And then it gets to the point where he basically kicks the Emperor's ass. But then, instead of just cutting him down, they let him live, and basically, because they let him live, it allowed for the opportunity for him to strike again. Now, Starkiller won't let that happen. He basically takes the full blunt of his Force Lightning, and he allows the rebellion to leave, and in doing so, he dies. All right, but then you got the second choice. You go kill Darth Vader. It's really nothing crazy. He basically gets stabbed by his own lightsaber and shit like that, and then the Empire kills the rebellion, and then you become the new apprentice of the Emperor, but you're just going to get used anyways, because that's how it always happens. So I really want to talk about the mechanics of the game, because the transition between 1 and 2 is completely different. Like, in 1, it felt very stiff, if that makes sense, because, like, don't get me wrong, playing this game back in 2008, this was phenomenal. Like, this was, groundbreaking to me. Like, I still love this game. I would play it probably a couple more times before I get bored. You can literally do anything you really feel like doing. The Force, controls, they're pretty much unlimited. I mean, you have a Force bar, but it recharges so fast that you're basically able to do whatever the hell you want to do. You're powerful. You basically pull a Star Destroyer from the sky into a planet. That's how powerful Starkiller is. So, basically, what I'm trying to say is the way the mechanics in this game work, from him being overpowered to, it gives you a little bit of challenge, especially whenever you're fighting other opponents with weapons, such as they have little lightsaber staffs, and then you got the people that are in the giant mech suits. You have your ATSTs, and those are all the hard things to fight. But when it comes to the basic, stormtroopers, they're really kind of pushovers. They take 1 or 2 hits, and they're down. But honestly, that's okay, because it's a fucking lightsaber. Let's be honest. The thing that I loved about this game versus Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is that in that game, it felt like the lightsaber didn't have as much oomph to it. It didn't feel like when I hit somebody, it's gonna cut through them. In that game, it just felt like a hot baseball bat, if that makes sense. In this game, it felt like the lightsaber had true power. To go into depth about what all you could do in this game, it's basically a 2008 game. You can have upgrades and stuff, but there's no upgrade tree to make it more of an RPG style game. It's just you can upgrade your Force powers, you can unlock combos, and you can also change your lightsaber color a little bit. But in the scope of things, there's not a whole lot of RPG element to it, because it's a very linear game. It's meant to be played a certain way. It's meant to be just, it's all story, and the gameplay takes second. But honestly, they did a really good job on how they portrayed everything. Like I said, you feel like a badass. The way you use Force Lightning, from the way you can throw your lightsaber, from picking up guys and yeeting them to picking up rocks and just using that as a weapon. It all felt very useful. It didn't feel like anything in the map was, just there as a placeholder. So, I really love the story in this game. It felt like a very fresh Star Wars story. Even today, it feels very fresh. I love the story. I love the way it all plays out. And the only thing I got to say that I really don't like, which it's kind of just opinion, but I don't care for the love interest. I don't care that Starkiller and Juno have a thing for each other. I get it that he's got a thing for this girl, but that's what got Anakin to be Darth Vader in the first place, is because he fell in love. Shit, you're not supposed to be in love when you're a Jedi. This fool's he's very brand new to this shit. He doesn't understand that that's one of the reasons that Anakin changed. So, to be honest, if I could do away with something in the story, I'd get rid of that. And, I mean, maybe change it up and have his main motive be his hate for Darth Vader. But see, then that's still dark side oriented. So they used it as a way to push the story along, but I think that they could have found something different to keep the story going. So if you have the chance, you have the opportunity to play Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and you want a Star Wars game that makes you feel like an overpowered badass, I definitely recommend the Force Unleashed games. They're just very fun, and they're very well put together. Like they didn't go in this game thinking, oh, but we're gonna be too overpowered. They thought, nah, dude, you have a lightsaber, you're a Force user, you're gonna be a badass. I kind of want to transition over to Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 because the story and the gameplay are way different. So, like always, I kind of want to start out with the story. And I'm going to try to remember to put a timestamp in because basically I can't say anything without spoiling the story if you haven't played it. So I'm going to do that right here. So in this game, Starkiller is quote unquote dead. And yet he's still here. So you're wondering what the hell happened? How is he still here? So basically Darth Vader did what wasn't supposed to be possible. He cloned him, and he made basically a clone army of Galen Mareks. And anyways, he's basically trying to perfect him because he constantly has nightmares of what happened to him because it's part of the cloning process and shit. As you go through the story, so he keeps having these nightmares and flashbacks, so that's what drove all the other clones mad. And because quote unquote mad, meaning they were just realizing who they were, what happened to them. Darth Vader is a fucking liar, and he didn't like that. He wanted them to just be obedient. He wanted them to follow his command and have no humanity, no way of making their own choices for themselves. So basically, you go through this training thing, and he wants you to kill a proxy of Juno, and he can't do it because he's like, dude, I love this chick, all right? I'm not going to kill her. And that's when Darth Vader's like, oh, I thought you were going to be the one, And then he has a flashback of Darth Vader stabbing him in the back, and he's like, oh shit, this shit's about to happen again. So he basically breaks free, and it leads into this whole badass scene. He straight up just jumps out of a window, and as he's diving to the ground, you're just blasting through platforms of stormtroopers and shit. You're destroying TIE fighters as you're falling, and it's just so badass. It's just you got dual lightsabers, you have this immense amount of power, and that's probably because I started the game after I already beat it, so I obviously was more OP than you're supposed to be in the start, but I was just playing it because I love the story. I didn't realize that you get so overpowered in the end of the game. So you basically fight through this entire base, and you're gonna get free. You're wanting to get free because you know that Juno's out there. Vader is still trying to kill, all of his enemies. He just wants something. He wants a weapon. He wants a tool. He doesn't want a person. So basically the whole story of this game leads up to you going and finding Juno. You find General Coda, and you fight this giant monster in this giant arena, and he's just like, oh, by the Force, I knew you were not dead. And you're like, shit, dog, I'm here. Nah, but you do all this badass stuff to find a girl, so she doesn't even get to see this shit happening. she just, she thinks you're dead. So, you know, literally the entire game, I try to think about what the story was all about. The story in this game was kind of trash. I love the idea of a clone. That's the only thing that's different about this game that really, kind of sets it apart from everything else, is he's a clone. But other than that, there really is no story. He's just looking to get himself some action, He's just trying to get his girl back. And she gets a slight glimpse of him as he finally finds her. And straight up, Boba Fett just, yeets her. Well, Boba Fett straight up just, takes her away. And you're like, dude, I've been searching for her. Come on, let me have her back. And you get back. And, while this whole time you're trying to find her, General Coda straight up is just like, hey, we can use you here, boy. We need you for the Empire. We need to fight them. And he's just like, nah, dude, I need to find Juno. And he's like, boy, one girl, that doesn't matter. This is a whole entire galaxy we need to save. And he's got a point, He's just trying to do what's best. But Starkiller doesn't have it, He's not even Starkiller. He's just a clone. He's a clone that has the memories of a dead man. And he doesn't want to have it. So, in the end, Darth Vader's just like, oh, yo, dude, I'll make you a deal. I won't kill her unless you kill all of my enemies. And if you try to resist, I'll kill her. If you try to help them, I'll kill her. If you do anything but what I tell you, I'll kill her. And so he basically is like, all right, I'll submit because I love her. Well, him doing that, she runs and grabs his lightsaber. Darth Vader's like, nah, bitch. Fucking yeets her out of a window. And that's when the final boss battle happens. And straight up, Starkiller just fucks up Darth Vader again. Straight up tackles him through a window. And uses Force Lightning and the actual lightning from Kamino to light his ass up. It's a super badass battle, but every time I beat this game, it makes me upset because it's so short. That story took me a total of I want to say 5 hours to beat the game. And I wasn't even rushing completely. I wasn't looking for any collectibles because I already collected them all. It was such a fast story, and it felt like they could have done so much more. Because the trailer made this game seem so badass. I gotta say, this is early 2000s. These games came out. They're not gonna be super long. We get games these days that are 60 hours long, and we're like, it's alright. It's too long, maybe. But no, dude. People forget, we were paying $40, $60 for games like this where they were 6 to 8 hours and you could replay through them, but the gameplay is what kept you there, not the story, because the story on this game was trash. And again, you're left with an option. You can kill Darth Vader, or you basically take him prisoner. Now, I always choose to take him prisoner because I'm freaking more leaning towards the light side. And then it gives you this idea of you are going to find out if Starkiller is actually dead. And it lets you kind of assume that there's going to be another game. And with Vader's last words being, I will always be in control of you so long as she's alive. So it makes you think, shit, dude, there's going to be another game. Well, there wasn't. The game was a flop. There wasn't another game. And that sucks because I really did love these games. The other option you choose is you try to kill Darth Vader, but you end up getting killed because Darth Vader actually created a clone who would follow his bidding. Juno dies, and Starkiller dies, with his last sight being Juno's dead body on the ground. Because if you go the light side, she somehow just survives. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. She fell 100 foot straight to metal. She should have been dead. Whatever. It's a game. So, what really sets this game apart from the first game is the combat and the way things happen. In this game, you can cut stormtroopers' arms off, you can cut their heads off, you can straight up like catch them on fire with your force lightning, and your force repulse, I guess you could call it. It's whenever he jumps up and curls into a ball and then lets out a bunch of force energy. That's so powerful in this game that it literally turns things to ash, and it's so badass. Like, if you get going in this game and you're on a roll, you're just like cutting through stormtroopers and you're force lightning them, and then you repulse like 10 of them or whatever, and they all just turn to ash. It's so overpowered. Like, this game makes you feel like just one of the most badass characters in the Star Wars universe. Like, Darth Vader's a badass. Like, the comics portray him to be such a badass, but this game takes it to a whole new level. Like, you're grabbing TIE fighters from the sky and you're crumpling them in your hand into little balls, basically. You're doing things that nothing has actually portrayed happening in like other forms of media that I know of. I don't read comics, so I wouldn't know if there's more things like that happening. But you literally have the ability to like basically force rage, and at that point you can like, you basically don't hold onto your lightsaber. You use the force to like maneuver both of your lightsabers through the air. You can pick up basically any enemy, not AT-ATs, but ATSTs, whatever. You literally can pick it up and yeet it. You know, you don't have to really fight them. You just throw them. The other major downfall of this game that I would have to say that really bugged me is the fact that you do all this badass stuff, and yet when it comes to like your takedowns and the special moves that you do, there really is no variety. Like, you fight an enemy once and then you do your quick time event, and it literally every single one's the same. There is no difference. There, you know, take away this guy's shield, and now you throw it at him. Oh, you're gonna cut off his arm. He's gonna freeze, and then you break him. Oh, you cut off his arm. He blew some fire and he caught on fire, but then he blows up. There's no difference. Like, they're all the same. I wish there was more variety. And like, honestly, if they ever bring this game back, God, it will look so beautiful. This actor, he played such an amazing role in Days Gone. He played such an amazing part in these games. He made the character more believable. Yeah, maybe he was a little more cringy than some people like to enjoy, but he is such a good actor. Sam Witwer is like perfect portrayal of this character. He has such a strong like look to him. He just looks so cold. So he gives his character some real life like aspects, because, you know, if you think about it, Galen Merrick's been through a lot. Like, he's not just some guy that, you know, has to fight the Empire. No. He's been raised by the Empire. He's been tortured. His father died at a young age in front of him, and his only form of humanity was taken from him multiple times. So I'd understand the reason he doesn't want anything to do with the rebellion and anything to do with the Empire. He just wants to live a low-key life with this girl Juno, because it's the only person that he's ever been in contact with that wasn't looking for him as a weapon or trying to just basically shit on his day. So the character development and the way this character is portrayed, I love the way they portrayed him. However, like I said, the only thing I hated about these games is they were so short. Like, the first game, it took me probably about 8-9 hours. The second game, I literally beat it in one morning. Like, I got on the Xbox and I was playing, and I got it done in, 4 or 5 hours. And that's why it left me feeling a little disappointed, because I wanted more. I wanted more of a story. I wanted more gameplay. Now, I understand you can replay these games, but it's not the same. But that's my thought on this game. Like, these games are some of my favorite games. Like, I love games like this. And growing up, this game franchise, if you want to call it that, they were the first Star Wars games that I played and I actually truly enjoyed, because I played the original Battlefront games, and I enjoyed them, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't like I could play it and, I had friends to play it with. But these games, I loved the single player stories. I loved that they made Starkiller such a badass. I liked the ability to change my lightsaber colors if I wanted to. I loved the ability to just change my character's outfit, like, stuff like that, like little minor stuff. But it's those things that made this game enjoyable to me. It's the fact that the character is overpowered that made it enjoyable to me. If you're in the realm of needing a good game where you feel overpowered, and you enjoy games like Prototype where your character's overpowered, but you wanted something a little more linear, not so open up, then I highly recommend The Force Unleashed 2. But if you're looking for a game where it's got an amazing story and good gameplay, I'd go with The Force Unleashed 1. I mean, it's not like the best story. Like, there's better stories. But it's a more capturing story than the second game. If you're planning on playing any of these games, and those are your options, you either go for the story or you go for the gameplay. Gameplay is The Force Unleashed 2. Story is The Force Unleashed 1. I'm sorry that this review's kind of gone all over the place, but it's been a while, and these have been an adventure down memory lane, and I do cherish these games. They hold a special place in my heart. I don't really like saying subscribe to my channel, throw down a like, but like, honestly, if you have made it this far in my video, I really appreciate you. Like, a lot of people don't stay till the very end because these videos, they're long and I don't seem very coherent in what I'm trying to say, because there's just so much to say about these things that I make reviews for. Like, I love video games. I love writing and making things more expressible. I like talking about my passions, and gaming is one of my passions. So if you've made it this far into the review, I just want to say thank you. Like, I truly do. I do appreciate it. We finally hit triple digits not too long ago, which is cool. But yeah, if you like the reviews that I do, maybe go check out other ones that kind of pique interest, and leave a like and a subscribe, because at the end of the day, if no one watches these videos, I'm saying my passion without saying it to somebody. So, if that makes sense. So, I really appreciate you guys and everything, all the comments. I appreciate talking to people, and I'm glad that there's some interaction there between us. So, this has been Evergreen, and I don't really call you guys saplings enough, but peace, love, homies.